You can't pour from an empty cup. Not into a college essay, not into senior year, not into your relationships, and not into your own future. If the next 20 weeks burn out your nervous system, no acceptance letter is going to fix that in April. The damage will already be done. I've watched this happen for 20 years, and I've watched families be blindsided by it because the student looked fine on the outside right up until they didn't. So today, before we go any further into the college process, we stop and we talk about you, the actual you, the human nervous system that's carrying all of this, because that's the thing doing the work, and most of us aren't taking care of it. Hi, I'm Dr. Heather Case. I'm a licensed school counselor and a licensed mental health counselor. Most weeks of this series, I talk to you as your college guide, but this week I'm talking to you as something else. A clinician who has spent 20 years watching what stress actually does to high school students and what it costs them when they don't address it. This is one of the most important weeks in the series, so stay with me. In week 1, we poured your foundation. Week 2, we built your compass. Week 3, we started noticing your story. And every single one of those is going to be harder to access if your body and your brain are running on empty by October. The college admissions process is sold to you as a competition you have to win. So the implicit message is grind harder, sleep less, skip the meal, drop the thing you love, push through. But that's not a strategy. That's stress speaking. And stress is a terrible strategist. Here's what the research actually says. Stress in short bursts is helpful. It focuses you for the test. It gets you through the hard week. The body is built for that. It's what the stress response is designed to do. What the body is not built for is stress that runs for 9 months straight without a break. That's when capacity collapses, mood drops, sleep breaks down, concentration narrows. The work takes twice as long to do, and you do it half as well. And by your senior year, which is supposed to be one of the most meaningful years of your life, it becomes something you survive instead of something you live and enjoy. This week, we change that pattern before it even starts. So I want you to picture a battery. 3 numbers describe it. Capacity, how much you can hold at full charge. Drain, what's pulling energy out of you. And recharge, what's putting energy back in. Most students focus only on drain. Make the to-do list shorter, drop an activity, quit the club. And that does buy you a little breathing room, but only temporarily. Because the drain is going to grow during senior year, not shrink. Applications happen, essays happen, decisions happen, waiting happens. The last fix is always on the recharge side. Recharge is not selfish. Recharge is operational. It's not the reward for finishing your work. It's the condition for being able to do the work at all. The battery has to be charged for any of the other systems to run. The 4 recharges that matter most in order of impact. First, sleep, 8 or 9 hours, not 6, phone out of the room before bed. Every study on adolescent cognition says the same thing. Sleep is not optional for a developing brain. It's when your brain consolidates learning, regulates emotion, and prepares for the next day. Skip it consistently, and you're not a tougher student. You're a slower and less effective one. Second, movement, 20 minutes a day. Not for your fitness goals, for nervous system regulation. A walk, a run, a class, a game. The form doesn't matter. The point is to move your body enough to shift your physiological state. This single change alone can lower baseline anxiety meaningfully. Third, food. 3 actual meals, protein at breakfast. I know that sounds really basic. Most of the teenagers I work with skip breakfast. Your brain runs on glucose. Skipping it is the cognitive equivalent of running a car on fumes and wondering why it's so slow. And finally, fourth, time that doesn't require performance. 15 minutes a day where no one is watching, evaluating, or measuring you. A book you're reading just for fun, a walk, music, a real conversation with a friend. This is the one most students cut first because it feels indulgent. But the truth is, it's the least indulgent thing on the list. It's what keeps the rest of you online. Let me tell you about Priya. Priya came to me at the start of junior year on the pre-med track. Her mother is a physician and her father an engineer. Priya was a 4.0 student, 3 AP courses, lab volunteer, varsity tennis. By every external measure, she was thriving. The first time I asked her how she was sleeping, she paused and she said, I don't really sleep anymore. Her mother had assumed Priya had it figured out. That's what high-achieving students do. They look like they have it figured out until they don't. Priya wasn't telling her parents because she didn't want to disappoint them. Her parents weren't asking because she looked fine. And between those two silences, Priya was running on fumes. We spent the next month doing something different. Not adding tutoring, not adding test prep, quite the opposite. We mapped her week and circled what was actually recharging her. And there was almost nothing. So we built it back one thing at a time. First, we started with 8 hours of sleep as a non-negotiable. She made sure her phone was out of the bedroom. Then on Saturday mornings, we added no homework, protected completely. And then we added 20 minutes a day with her younger sister, no devices, just present, just hanging with her. And guess what? Her GPA didn't drop. Her test scores actually went up. And when she sat down to write her college essay 6 months later, she wrote about the moment she realized she'd been outsourcing her own well-being to her mother's expectations. And she wrote about what happened when she stopped. It became one of the most honest essays I've read in 20 years of doing this work. Priya got into her top choice school, but more importantly, and this is what I want you to hear, she got there as a person who knows how to take care of herself. Now she's thriving in college too. Now I want to take a moment to switch hats. Not as your college guide, as a licensed mental health counselor. There is a line that exists between stressful and clinical. Most of the stress that comes up during admissions is in the normal range. Hard, real, valid, and worth addressing, but still in the normal range. Sometimes it crosses a line, and I want you to know what that looks like, because when it does, there are specific things that help. Here's what clinical stress can look like. Sleep that's been broken for more than 2 weeks straight and does not improve. Appetite changes that don't go away. Withdrawing from people that you used to want to spend time with. Crying that you can't connect to a specific event. Feeling numb. Not sad, just empty. Feeling hopeless about the future in a way that feels different from regular worry. And any thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. If any of that describes you or describes someone you love or care about, please hear this. That is not a failure of strength. That is your nervous system asking for support. And there are specific places to get it. In the United States, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, you can call or text 988. The crisis text line, you can text HOME, HOME, to 741741. You can tell your school counselor, tell a parent or another trusted adult. Make an appointment with your primary care doctor or your counselor and just say the words, "I'm not okay." They will know what to do next. Reaching out is one of the strongest things a person can do. I have never once seen a student regret it. But I have seen many students who regretted waiting too long to ask for help. There's a resource page on the Stressed Out to Stand Out website with all of this. The link is in every video description from this week forward. Save it or send it to someone who might benefit from that information. Okay, 3 things for this week. 1, pick one of the 4 recharges: sleep, movement, food, or unmeasured time, and audit it honestly. Just one. Where's yours actually breaking down? Don't try to fix all 4 at once. Just notice the one that's most depleted. 2, add 1 practice to that recharge this week. 1, not 5, phone out of the bedroom at night, or a 20-minute walk before you open your laptop, or breakfast with protein, or 15 minutes of something that's just for you. Pick the one that costs the least and do it every day for 7 days. No exceptions. That's the whole assignment. And 3, if something in the clinical segment I just shared landed for you about the signs, about not being okay, please tell one person this week. A parent, a counselor, a doctor, a friend who actually answers their phone. The first sentence is the hardest one. After that, it gets easier every time. Before we close, one breath together. You are not the things you produce. You are the person doing the producing. That person needs to be taken care of, not just optimized, not just pushed harder, and not just managed through to the finish line. If this video met you where you are, send it to one person who needs to hear it. There is at least one person in your life right now who's running on empty and pretending they're not. They'll recognize themselves in this video. Maybe you recognize parts of yourself too. Take care of yourself this week. The college process can wait until you are recharged. Next week, in week 5, we move from foundation and self-care into something a little more alive. Interest, curiosity, what you actually love when no one's been watching and nothing's being graded. You don't need a passion, you need a starting point, and that's what next week is for. So subscribe and I'll see you next week. But before you go, I want to remind you of something very important. You are so much more than your application. Your worth isn't measured by acceptance letters or rejection emails. I want you to know that your story matters. Tell it honestly, tell it bravely, and know that I am always here cheering you on. See you next week.